RDTDaily.com presents a Tarabuster with comedian Tara Devlin.
All right. I gotta change that opening. Damn it. I got a lot to do. I got a lot on my plate. Let's see. Where am I? Okay, guys, we're gonna call in to Robyn right now. So thank you for hanging out. This is Tara Devlin. I see you, Ed. Thank you. It was either me or Ari Melba. I'm so thankful, Ed, that you chose this show, The Real Liberal Media. Hey, Kathy. All right, let's take a moment. Okay, before I begin, let me do some plugs first, because we're going to dive in with Robyn in a moment. I want to thank Charlie from APS Radio News, as always, for keeping the show going and growing, and all your support of the community cats, especially now in the winter. It matters. It makes a difference, and it goes to a very good cause. The poor little community cats that some people don't even give a second thought to. So thank you so much, Charlie, for all you do for the liberal media and for keeping your APS Radio News going. And if you haven't checked it out yet, guys, go on over. There are other independent media voices at apsradionews.com. And tell Charlie that Tara sent you, because Charlie's one of the good ones on this planet. We need about 1 million more of him. All right, maybe 20 million more. We need more good people in this world, that's for sure. All right, so what else? Oh yeah, thank you, patrons. Patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And for now, if you can, become a patron, patreon.com/Tara Devlin. And if you're on other platforms, come on over to youtube.com/C for channel/Tarabuster and hang out in the chat room and get to see Robyn, because I know Robyn's only doing audio at this moment. So if you want to see Robyn in the flesh, video is always better. So I think so. Yes. And thank you, Suzanne. Smash the like button. Awesome. All right, guys. Let's call. I'm just going to send a message. Calling now. Do I need that? Do I need the heads up? I think maybe. Okay, Skype. Here we go. 1 ringy dingy. Hold on a second. 2 ringy dingy. Here we go. Let's hope she picks up.
Gay.
Who's gay?
Gay.
Yikes.
There.
Very buzzy. Oop, yoopity-doopity. Way.
1 second.
Okay. It's all good.
Okay,
this is how
you're back
it goes.
in.
Oh, good.
No. Oh, good. Yeah, we're good
I don't
now.
see you. Are you going on camera?
Oh, I am. I just have to reposition the camera, and the last time I did that, you said I was just showing off.
Right. All right, I'll give you a minute.
There we are.
Oh, hi, honey. You're looking darling.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Happy middle of the week.
Yes, I was listening to your show earlier, and I don't know. I was getting sick thinking about Nancy Mace. What a horrible human being she is.
I know.
How does she look herself in the mirror? It's really baffling. That
I think she's, from the looks of things, she stopped doing that.
You're good. That's good.
But just as you rang in, I was discussing the fears of the maggots in Ellensburg, Washington, that the precious children of Ellensburg High School were being gayed.
Oh, God.
By pizza.
By pizza?
By pizza, yes. About an average of 27 kids attend the weekly pizza clatch at Ellensburg High School. And Councilman Joshua Thompson barked and grunted at the city council meeting, saying that the existence of Pizza Clatch could influence students, wait for it,
Wow.
influence students to join the LGBTQ plus club so that they could get some free pizza.
Oh, wow. Is that it? Well, it used to be toasters, right? You give a toaster for everyone you converted. You would
Right,
get a
and
toast.
you know there's still a running wager in the Horn Family Community Congregation. Matt in San Francisco gets a zircon encrusted platinum toaster with bagel wide slices. The minute that Mika Brzezinski finally calls Nitwit Nero a motherfucker,
Oh, wow.
that ship may have sailed. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Maybe.
But
yeah. Wow. It's
this-
still,
this
it never
cr- this-
stops,
th-
does
yeah,
it?
this
Right.
creep Joshua Thompson. Yeah, they're transing our
Yeah,
children.
it just
of
never
course.
stops with
Yeah.
this bullshit.
But
Because they got
the
nothing
mother-
else.
Yeah, the mother of a transgender child, Councilwoman Sarah Beecham, said, "We're not making them transgender. The program is not turning them
It's
homosexual by
incredible.
having a place for them to gather and feel safe."
Wow.
Yeah. And so this Joshua Thompson guy offered up a motion to zero out the $1,400 whole dollars that were going to wear the pizza, I guess. And he's mad because Ellensburg actually has a DEI program.
Oh, okay. Yes, because that's the enemy of the people now.
Yes.
Learning how to, or considering anyone else but yourself is now against everything that that the Jesus and the baby Jesus and the founding fathers stood for. Clearly,
Yeah, exactly.
and anything American, it's just not the American way to consider anyone who's not yourself. That's why I'm so sick of listening to these maggots and normalizing them too. So I mean, you can continue, but I was earlier right before I.
Well, there's a happy ending to the story.
Oh, okay.
The Ellensburg community, the private sector, actually raised $2,000 to continue the program.
Good. That's good to hear that not everyone is falling for this bullshit.
But it's also a reminder, Tara, that even in the and I understand there's a geographical thing with Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon. You know, that's where all the, well, no offense if you're not, but that's where all the necks live. So depending on where you are, that might explain why this happened. But the thing is, the so-called safe states, the so-called the blue states with protections for the LGBT community, aren't always necessarily so.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to look forward to the next 4 years of being incredibly small and backwards and exclusive and
Dumb.
kicking people out of the community of Americans. You know, I mean, this is what makes me so sick about them, because they make everyone sick. They make the whole society sick with the way that they exclude people, and they're not looking to like I just saw in England that they banned across the UK gender affirming care for youth.
Anyone under 18.
Mm-hmm. It's how dare you, really? They're not, and it's all because of the children, supposedly. How many evil acts have been committed on this pretense, I should say, because it's nothing to do with the children, because if it were, they'd mind their own effing business. But they did say that those who are already undergoing gender affirming care can continue, but not for anyone coming behind. So I thought, if it's so harmful, wouldn't you put an end to it right now? It's just a political.
Well, and I mean the hypocrisy becomes even more apparent when you realize that those self-same drugs are still allowed to be used on cis kids.
Yes.
Cis kids.
Yes.
And
of course.
you know, young English boys who develop feminine breasts because of gynecomastia during puberty will still be allowed to go into hospital and have them carved off.
Yes.
But a trans guy can't.
Right.
The bigotry, the blatant sexism.
Yeah.
But there's something that needs to be said a lot about this, and about the children. Oh, Jesus Christ! But no, you have to understand the depth of the weirdness, the perversion, and the paranoia of conservative cis people, right-wing cis people. And remember, this is the Labor government. This isn't Rishi Sunak's fucking Tories.
That's right.
This is the Labor government that promised to protect trans people and were, in fact, elected partly on that basis, who have turned around and shivved the trans community and trans kids in particular, whose own lives are made a living hell by having to deal with going through a puberty that absolutely breaks their souls.
Exactly.
And so with all of that in mind, just to point out, the reason they want these things, the reason they want to stop children, adolescents, we say children, and that's a misleading term. We mean adolescents. We mean, 13, 14, 15 years old. And none of these kids can actually get sex hormones until 16.
Yeah.
All the puberty blocker does is put a pause on whatever the puberty they would go through that would torment them to have to deal with. The only people that are tormented by that are trans people.
That's right.
Cis people. Hey, Dad, I think I'm getting my mustache. Yeah, cool. Yeah, they're happy about it. But for a trans girl, that's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But what these bigots want is they want to make sure that every trans person has to go through a pubertal torment and have their bodies wrecked by those puberties, because they're scared to, and again, I'm not erasing trans guys. I'm not forgetting that trans guys exist. It's just that this hatred is directed almost exclusively toward trans girls, because again, you never hear Joanne Rowling or Robert Galbraith or whatever they're calling themselves these days talking about trans boys playing in boys' sports and erasing boys' sports and keeping boys from having athletic opportunities that should go to them, but they're going to a trans guy instead. No. Or for that matter, cis girls in boys' sports. You know, here, what they want trans girls to do is go through these horrifying puberties instead of addressing the issue before that puberty can wreck their bodies, because these filthy bigots and these filthy perverts want trans bodies to always, because they are terrified that somewhere down the road they might meet someone who transitioned before puberty.
Right. And they may not. Right.
And they may be attracted to them.
Yes.
And that would make their little pee-pees ache.
Yes. And it would make them, have to question the scary, complex world. That's what it's about. They lack the fundamental maturity to function in this diverse and complex world. And it doesn't have to be scary, but you see Republicans, right-wingers in general, just constantly fear-mongering, never bringing light to a situation, and they don't want to know the truth. They don't want to hear about how this harms trans youth and how they should just mind their own effing business. What is so hard about that? They think they know better than a family and the mother and the father and the family of this youth that they're trying to, save. They're trying to help this person, their child, to have a life in this world that is not constantly or he or she is under some kind of duress by society. They're just trying to fit in, and that's the whole thing. People, especially young people, fitting in. We see it all the time.
Oh, God,
it's like
please.
You want to fit in, and people, you have young people committing suicide and whatnot because of not fitting in, feeling left out. And God knows, this is why the suicide rates in trans community is pretty astonishing. But which is another reason why Republicans don't give a crap about youth. Because, on the other hand, it's not just trans youth they're harming all youth by making them as fearful and small and ugly as they are. What a better, more, compassionate and less, and self-affirming way to be would be to accept people, meet them where they are, say, we got you, we got your back, right? What the fuck is so hard about that? We got you, you're one of us, but instead, what do? They always kick people out. There's somebody out, there's somebody in. And it's always the marginalized and the misunderstood that they go for. They're never kicking down on, the billionaires or somebody with power. No, they always have to add more pain and misery and suffering and confusion to those who are already misunderstood. It's absolutely repugnant that this is even a thing now, that it's like a cancer spreading across humanity. And in some ways I thought that's what's so disappointing too. I thought we were beyond this in a way, but no, it's only getting worse. And it's going to get worse, worse the next 4 years, because this is what they got. They get their bang for the buck. Hating gays, even though, as we see with the pizza gays, it's not, it's not they're not gay. I wish that's sending somebody having a pizza party was all it took.
Speaking of the gay pizza, I just got a note from Sylvie. What? You mean you hadn't heard of the pizza code? Back in the 80s, we had the hanky code to tell who was into what. Pizza code by order number 5. You can tell what the person is into by what they ask for on their pie.
Ah, okay.
Stuffed crust into threesomes. Anchovies, lesbian dominant. No anchovies, lesbian passive.
Right.
Add pineapple, gay male submissive.
Wow, you really thought about this.
No pineapple, gay male dominant. Tomatoes, likes fisting.
Oh, no.
Sausage, into anal. Vegetarian, into oral. Peppers, into humiliation.
Yeah, right.
Sylvie.
Wow. You really...
She did. She
thought about that one, Sylvie. That's good.
Oh, God.
That's funny. Yeah.
No more tomatoes or sausage on pizza for me.
Right. But, the thing is, sometimes on my show, I'll talk to the future, like when we're all dead and gone. Know that they're going to look at these videos. Of course they are. I'll probably, be a #1 rated show by then in the future. I'm just kidding.
Right. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. I do that. I do that too. We beam this program out every night to the amorphous multi-limbed aliens of Norblap 9.
Right. Because, in the future, they're going to look at all these videos from this time period, and they're going to, because they want to figure out what were people really thinking. And in the future, they're going to be appalled about the attacks on trans people. There is no doubt that this is going to be, they're going to harm a lot of people in the interim, but we will continue to evolve. Trans people will continue to exist, and there will continue to become more, encompassed into the human community. And there are already discussions taking, about 3D printing of like body parts. Right.
Because if bodily organs are 3D printed from one's own stem cells, there's no risk of rejection.
Right.
There's probably a day in the not that distant future when trans women can have uteruses implanted.
Wow.
That their bodies will not reject.
Why not? Right, exactly.
Because it will be their own genetic material.
It makes sense.
And
makes absolute sense.
And what will the transphobes do then?
I
What
don't
will they
know.
scream about then?
They will scream. Yeah, that's really what they're afraid. I didn't even think of that too. What you just said about they don't want people to, they want people to go through a puberty so they can pick them out later. If they have to transition later on, and it's just cruel.
You can be me, waiting 4.5 decades and having a completely ruined male body, and then have to deal with that in transition,
Right.
pursue surgeries,
Right.
and the funny thing about gender dysphoria, it never gets better. It's it starts out with little questions and little realizations. Sometimes when you're as young as 4 or 5 years old, that's the way it was with me. And then puberty hits and things are happening to your body that shouldn't be happening to your body, and you're seeing things happen to your friends that you wish would happen to yours, and you try to tamp it down and you try to get along and you try to cope.
Right.
And if you're an adolescent, you're not actively thinking in terms of, curious little small room I've just entered and pulled the door shut behind me, and the next thing you know, you're living in a closet for 4.5 decades.
Right. And doing the best you can, trying to, acclimate, getting married, having children, trying to,
performing hypermasculinity and going out and shooting guns and getting your hands dirty and digging around and learning how to upsize your chip in your automobile so it'll be louder and badder and make your penis sound even tinier when you drive noisily by. Yeah.
Right.
And it's miserable.
It's so fucked up. This whole people are. Where does it come from? Is it simply religion?
Well, that's part of it. Jeremy in Vermont just said because to like a trans girl as a straight guy, so they thought male would make them gay based on their fucking nuts religious texts. These are all Yeah, I mean, look, when Mullah Moses Mike Johnson said, we all know that Scripture teaches us that male and female created he, them.
Wow. Which is gender neutral.
Yeah,
really,
it's like, congratulations. I'm glad you're taking your life guidance from a bunch of Bronze Age barbarians who didn't even know why it rained.
Yeah. They didn't know what a germ was. They didn't know where the sun went at night. They didn't know.
I wonder if maybe we must pray to Vol so the sun will return.
Yeah, exactly.
As it rides on its chariot into the night.
They thought. I mean,
Jesus
I always
Christ.
they felt bad. I think about this sometimes. After the massacre of Hannibal and Connolly, when he massacred the Roman army. I mean, they lost more than 60,000 troops, including their senatorial class, their officer class, the equestrian, in one day, more than we lost in the entire Vietnam War. What they did
In one day.
Yeah, in one day. And they thought that it was because the gods were mad at them, so they took one of the Vestal virgins and they said, well, you must have had sex. You must not be a virgin. That's why the gods are mad.
And buried her alive.
Yes. That's to appease the gods. And, it
wasn't the prideful hubris of a guy who really had no business being a general.
Yeah. Well, that's the way it is.
Or the fact of a split command. I think that was the case.
That's another one,
At the Trasimene Lake.
Yeah, because
God,
they were
we're
so.
Doing it Tara, we're doing it again.
Well, it's good. I like this, but because they were so afraid. The reason, I'm sure you know this, but for those who don't, they were so afraid of concentrated power in the head. That's what's so alarming about this fucked up timeline we're living in, is because when you think about the fall of the Roman Republic, this was a civilization that had the hatred of monarchy, the hatred of concentrated power drummed into them all the time. That we will suffer no king to rule in Rome. I mean, right up until the first, Roman emperor, who did not call himself emperor, who called himself the first citizen, the principus, right? That's where we get our word prince from. Yeah. And they
Augustus.
Yeah, right. But they, even though, and that's why they would have split command. So a commander would rule, or would command the troops one day, and then his co-commander would command them the next day. And that was, this was a couple of 100 years before the end of the Roman Republic, but it was just a sign of how much they hated, they knew that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
And the founders of this country, those wealthy white men, picked up on the same concept, and that's why they created a divided government.
Yep. And
3 branches.
As we see, and this is the problem. This is when as far as the end of the Roman Republic, the scholars or whatever trace the end of the Roman Republic to the assassination of the Gracchi brothers, and so that happened 100 years before.
Right.
Basically, it took 100 years, and because that was the first instance of political violence being introduced in their politics. Because before it was, we have a mechanism. That's why it's so ridiculous when the Republicans talk about the Second Amendment is so we can overthrow the government. We have a mechanism. The founders gave us a mechanism to overthrow the government. It's called an election. They wouldn't put a thing in there so you can go shoot the representatives. There's nothing further from the truth. And what happened in the Roman Republic is exactly what's happening to us, which is and of course the corporate media will never talk about it like this. It's violating norms, stretching the norms of whatever they might be, whatever rules you had, like how long a consul can serve. Right. You could only serve 1 year. How the tribune of the plebs who could only serve 1 year, and still
but had the tribunician veto.
And they also was sacrosanct, and that's actually what Tiberius Gracchus was when he was assassinated, which was another thing. And in fact, because when he was assassinated, it was against you couldn't put your hands on him, you couldn't touch him, but then they beat him to death with chair legs, I believe, so, and after that, what happened was the propaganda machine went into effect. Basically, they covered up their devious acts by saying it was to save the Republic because he wanted to be a king, and what he was doing was trying to enact land reforms and trying to make it so that not only the rich could reap the benefits because the soldiers were the ones out on the front lines fighting, and yet all the patricians were the ones sitting in their big villas getting all the land and the wealth. And
exactly.
So it's so many similarities. It's ridiculous.
It's actually kind of frightening.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
there's a reason for the last 8 years I've referred to that orange monstrosity with various takes on the names of Roman emperors.
Right.
Nitwit Nero, Geezer Disgustus.
Yes.
Orange Julius Geezer.
Yes. But
Marcus Aurelius, Venereal Vespasian.
Right. But what the thing is with him is one saving grace is his complete buffoonery, right? He's a baboon, he's a buffoon. And we've discussed this before. It's just like at the end of the Roman Republic with Caesar, you don't want to really compare Caesar to Trump because Caesar was a much more impressive person. Yes. When Trump is just a con man, and Caesar was, a brilliant, like you said, and also not a coward and
consummate tactician.
Yeah.
Won the Corona Civica as little more than a teenager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was. And, he had a name, but his name had been, what do you call it? He didn't have the money to back it up because
right. I mean, it was the name was a venerable old name, but they had kind of become backwatered over
Well, because they had backed the wrong horse, so to speak, in the Civil War. Marius was his, what do you call it?
great uncle.
Yeah, and anyway, this is getting too much into the weeds there. But so that's why I don't want to really compare Trump to Caesar, because he's not. I mean, in a way. But in this other way, he is. Whereas he has no respect for the Senate, and the government in general.
Right.
Which kind of reminds me of why, one of the reasons the senators finally took up arms against Caesar was because he was disdainful of the Senate, and he was ostentatious in his disdain for them. And one of the last straws was that he didn't stand up. They came to him and they wanted to tell him he was in the middle of some project in the forum, building project, and he had all his plans there. And the Senate came to tell him that they had spent the whole day bestowing honors on him, and they wanted to give him the list of honors, and he was like, he didn't stand up to greet them. So, and then he was like, well, I'll take this honor and that one, but I don't want that one. And, and that was it. And they thought that was, that was one of, basically the last straw.
Yeah, disrespectful. Yeah.
So, but, later.
When he had been accustomed to sitting in the curule chair in the Senate, seated, receiving, receiving petitions, pleas of mercy, and then before that, sitting on a camp stool somewhere in the mud in Gaul, receiving reports from his legati.
Right.
Yeah, we can get in these weeds
really
quickly.
But
you're right.
Yes.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
And later, actually, I can't remember who it was, one of the Roman historians, there's conflicting reports, but because I'm trying to remember which one it was, because it's kind of funny, excuses Caesar's not standing up by saying that he had diarrhea.
Right.
I don't know who it was, Tacitus or one of the others, Dio. But anyway.
Polybius, maybe.
Yes, I got to look that up. That's pretty funny. Yeah,
that actually sounds like it probably came from Suetonia.
Yeah, but legitimately, he didn't stand out. He was having a bout of diarrhea and he couldn't risk it. So, but the point is,
he didn't want to gamble and lose.
Exactly, it would be even more disrespectful, is what he was saying. So, what I am. Making the comparison is because what troubles me is a far more astute and cunning fascist like a J.D. Vance might get a hold of the executive branch. And that's what happened with Augustus, because he took power, and of course, as the first citizen, and all the while concentrating power into the executive, but remaining completely deferential, at least in appearances, to the Senate, and never flaunting his wealth, never, always showing respect for, and that's how, by the time he finally died, when he was around 78 years old, many people, considering the lifespan at the time, they didn't remember the Republic.
The time went, right, exactly.
There was always a first citizen, and it's going pretty well. And of course, he was a great propagandist too.
And then after Caligula gets taken out, I think, emissaries came to the Senate and said, "Okay, we can restore the Republic now." And the senators are like, "Are you fucking crazy?"
Right.
Oh, we're going to get the guy behind the curtain over there.
No, wasn't that the Praetorian Guards that did that, though?
The Praetorians took out Caligula, and then they went to the Senate and said, restore the Republic.
Right. That was the chance. They had it. Because it only took how many generations?
They said, no, thank you.
Really? Yeah. To turn, you went from Augustus, who was a good administrator, actually, and then you get to complete madness with Caligula, and here we are.
Tiberius was a sadistic piece of shit.
Right. Well, he never set foot in Rome. Was it Caligula? No, I think it was Nero. That was the last one, because Caligula was third.
the line that was actually related by blood to Julius Caesar ended with Nero, when he kicked, after he kicked his pregnant wife to death.
Yeah, and then he castrated one of the slaves that looked like her and married her, didn't he? Something like that. He said, "Make her a woman," and he became. And yeah, that's what that happened. Look that up. He took one of the slaves that he killed. He killed his pregnant wife, and then, and they were long friends too, so they knew each other. And I guess he had regrets after he did that, and so he saw a slave, but it happened to be a male. So he said, "Make her a woman," and and they did.
Then later on, the Roman Emperor Elagabalus actually offered a vast reward for anyone, and of course this is history that was written by the people who hated Elagabalus, because accusations of transness are always pernicious. Yeah, Elagabalus was said to have offered a princely reward to any physician who could make him a woman.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
We've been around for a little
That's
while.
awesome. Well, I know.
It's kind of like Cynthia in the Bay Area said, trans people, just try to get rid of us.
Right.
We'll just make more.
Well, that's the thing. It's the same thing with gays in general.
Yeah, going back to that barbarian wisdom that these maggots like to pretend to rely upon, Cynthia added, wondering where the rain came from. And then they're marching around in a rainstorm with their spears, their bronze spears held high in the air, and wondering why they got struck dead by lightning. Oh, I know. God did it. He was mad at them.
That's it.
Exactly.
Well, even now, when 9/11 hit, they were like, "Oh, it's the gays, right? Everything's the gays," and all this this stupidity, this demon-haunted stupidity. We're supposed to have. We're supposed to be, respectful to it. We're supposed to consider that. Yeah. Oh, that's your faith. Fuck you and your faith. Your faith is shit.
Well, I mean, do you remember when Mike Pencilneck Geek got all butt hurt because he said that he hears the voice of God, and somebody said, "So you hear voices? You're religiously persecuting me for my faith."
That's right.
No, I'm suggesting that hearing voices isn't fucking healthy, Mike.
And how many freaks and murderers and terrorists and all other kinds of kooks have blamed hearing God telling them to commit their acts of violence? A lot, I'd say.
A lot of them, yeah.
A lot. Yeah. As Trump would say, a lot. By a lot.
A lot.
By a lot. I'm winning by a lot. Shut up. Well, no, I'm just...
well, let me add another one here. Sylvie just wrote in and said, it's all about misogyny.
It really is.
The terror about seeming too feminine is the fear of guys about losing their penis. A man seeing a trans woman has the unbidden thought, what if I... No, this is also why they hold gay men in contempt. What if I... No, it's why trans men don't trigger them. Other than contempt, you aren't a real guy. There's no fear. It also explains the chicks with dicks fascination exists. They can they can really think about shudder penises if the penis in question is on a non-threatening girl. Or better, or for some of these sick freaks, even better, if it's on a pretty girl who's willing to give them the homosexual experience that they desperately crave.
That is so true. That's
true. That's why one of the running gags around here with any maggot you ever run across, that great line from Bart Cop from years gone by at the beginning of the century, pointing out back then loyal bushies and the like, going and saying, "Oh, he's going to get caught with a man in his mouth."
Yes.
I mean,
I mean, isn't it sad though when I think about them? What a waste of your life. Like, just be yourself. You fucking
what a miserable
coward.
Existence. And again.
Jesus Christ.
These are not LGBTQ concepts of sexuality. These are their twisted concepts of sexuality, where they cannot and I'm sorry to focus it on trans women, because I'm not dismissing or not acknowledging the struggle of trans guys. It's just that the primary focus is always on trans women, because male egos are so godforsaken, dainty, and fragile.
Yes.
And it drives them absolutely
It's
batty
incredible.
if when they see, and young trans women can just absolute visions of hyper femininity in many instances. And your typical horny as hell Gen Z guy sees her and goes, oh, and
Right.
and
Then
they
they
say,
have to be like,
oh, she's
yeah.
trans. Oh, I'm not gay. I don't want anything to do with it.
Right. And it's not.
And so
you're not gay. Yeah.
And so they're so confused. You wind up with people like Nick Fuentes, the Nazi,
Right.
who says with a, well, I won't say a straight face, but he says without tongue in cheek, he says that it is gay for a heterosexual man to have sex with a heterosexual woman.
Why though? I heard that. But why?
He says it's gay for a
he's enjoying
heterosexual
it?
man to masturbate because he's touching a penis.
Oh wow, what a sick bastard! How that's somebody that needs therapy, not a podcast.
Yeah, he's. I mean, my God, he's kind of like the king of the incels.
Wow, is he an incel or this is Nick Fuentes? Right. I was
the white supremacist who went to dinner with Nitwit Nero and the formerly known as Kanye West.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. No, I was thinking of somebody else when you said, Nick Fuentes is this. He's the one that was like, men rule, women, your body, my choice. When Traitor won. Yeah. When the Traitor won.
And now he's afraid to leave the house, and he pepper sprays innocent women.
Oh, really?
Who get near his house, and now he's facing assault charges.
Because he's just pepper spraying people randomly?
Yeah, she rang his doorbell, and he opened the door and pepper sprayed her.
What was she doing at his door? It was probably, was she delivering the mail or something?
She was videoing his house because
But you can't just come out and start pepper spraying people. But I guess
so he's caught charges there where he lives in the Buckeye State. Yeah,
that's awesome. I didn't know that.
And by the way, Tamara said, "I love the history diversions." And
it's interesting to me.
give Horn family. And thank you for the pitch, Tamara. We the fundraising goal is at $690. Power bill's due on Thursday. Fingers crossed, because AEP likes their paydays, $400 and $500 at a time, because West Virginia has the most expensive electricity in the entire United States.
Well, I thought you wouldn't think that would be true, given the fact that all the sacrifices that the people of West Virginia have made to the energy industry, right? You would think you would not have to face that kind of hardship in that.
No, at least back in the day, they would tell stories about how in Kuwait gasoline is 10 cents a gallon.
Right. Well, in Alaska, don't they give a check every year to the citizens, like a good socialist state that it is?
Yeah, right.
It's unbelievable.
And by the way, Kim in New York, she's not at all that far from where you are. Kim said, "Hi, Roxanne and Tara. Oh my God, Tara, I didn't know you were a Roman history aficionada. Did you take Latin in school? That's kind of where my love for Roman history was birthed. I'm just loving this conversation."
Oh, I did not take Latin, but I am interested in it, and I sometimes listen to some, what do you call it? It's just some not. I've considered taking Latin lessons for real. But I have.
Well, did you know that the language learning app on your phone, Duolingo?
Oh, really? It has
Latin?
Has that? Yeah, because I have I've watched. I'm trying to remember her name. Mary Beard. Yeah, doing a crash course in Latin, and it's very interesting.
God, I love Mary Beard.
She's amazing. I love her. She's so adorable. And I just love the way she presents her.
What was her blog? A Don's Life?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
She has a blog? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I just know her from the videos,
And she used to, and I don't know, maybe she still does. She used to get so much shit from right-wingers
Oh,
in the
yes.
UK, because she
Really?
would talk about the presence of black people in the UK, 2,000 years ago, and how
Oh.
and how, so-called white Anglo-Saxon culture wasn't nearly as white
Right.
as they said it was.
Really? So
Yeah.
well, that reminds me of when they discovered the oldest Briton that they found, the Cheddar Man, and then they did his DNA. And at first they were celebrating him, but then when they put out an image of him, he's brown.
Yes.
And and they were all bugging out about how could he be English? How? Because, Caucasian skin is a relatively new
Phenomenon.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
Evolution,
about 7,000 years old.
right. So that's how. And but it just goes to show you how irrational all of this is.
But isn't that
racism.
fascinating from an evolutionary standpoint? Consider, early humans came up out of Africa. Some continued eastward into, the Indian subcontinent, further into Asia. But another group went north through what we call the Middle East and through the gap in the Caucasus, and they become what we call Europeans. But that was like 100,000 years ago,
Right.
or more. 100,000 years is about the cutoff for modern so-called Homo sapiens.
Yes. It's
But
less than 10,000.
they had to be in Europe. They had to be in that glaciated, frozen hellscape for thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years before evolution actually decided it would be it would be more successful evolutionarily. I mean, evolution didn't decide. It's just mutations either work or they don't work. And so a mutation for pale skin began to take over because you need to be able to gather in as much sunlight as you possibly can for, like, vitamin D creation, bone strength, that kind of thing. So that only happened 7,000 years ago when humans have been wandering around Europe for tens upon tens upon tens upon tens upon tens upon thousands of years.
Yep.
There's 7,000-year-old evolutionary experiments cannot be deemed successful. I mean, humanity itself cannot be deemed successful. How long did the dinosaurs succeed?
Millions of years.
Yeah. And I love, oh my God, I love the stupidity of these fucking right-wingers. They're so goddamn insufferably dumb.
Aren't they?
But some days they just give you a reason to live.
What happened?
There was a question, I don't know what website, but it's precious. Just got to get there first. I have to get past all my Luigi Mangione stuff. Jesus, Roxanne, you take a lot of selfies.
You took you take a lot of selfies?
Yeah, I'm trying to find this one particular thing that I saw.
I take no selfies. If you looked at my phone, it's just cats. It's cats, guinea pig.
Oh,
cats.
Here it is. And it was this being Wednesday and all, prayer meeting and whatnot. This is apropos. Dear atheists, because the Christians love to put out questions that they think are gotchas for the atheists.
Yes.
Yeah. Dear atheists, how is it that cavemen survived the asteroid, but the dinosaurs didn't?
Are you kidding me? Who put that question? Is that a real thing?
Yeah, it is a real thing for social media.
Oh my God!
But just the question again.
Wow,
Dear atheists, how is it that cavemen survived the asteroid, but the dinosaurs didn't?
Wow,
the answer,
what a dumb fuck.
No, but it's the answer that makes it art.
Okay, good.
The answer, social distancing. They stayed 65 million years apart.
Exactly. These people know nothing. They're graduates of Meme University. That's it. That's where they get their learning from. They see a meme and
they're learning.
and they think they are just an expert on the subject, like Trump. That's where they get this shit from. He's the fucking stupidest, most ignorant puss that has ever dared try to pretend to be the president. And they, he's as stupid as they are. That's why they love him. But he's even more ignorant because he had every opportunity. He's because he always talks about he loves, look at I went to Wharton and I have a very big brain and all this. But he, as Mary Trump said, and as we know just by having to deal with him and listen to him and see the way he doesn't know where to put an apostrophe on a YOU apostrophe RE, that, he paid people to take tests for him. He paid people to sit in class for him. That's it. And he wanted the diploma. That's it. He doesn't need to get... See, that's that's the rest of them, too. Like, they don't want to go through the work. That's Elon Musk. That's, all the other fuckers who, they're supposed to be the masters of the universe, but they can't seem to make a buck unless they can rig the game in their favor. And
exactly.
So... if you're that, you're so ignorant, but that isn't, it's just such it's another, example of how the ignorance is pathological with him. Because if you don't cheat, who are you cheating? You cheat yourself. But he doesn't care. It doesn't matter that he's stupid. He doesn't know how do you get out of Wharton and you don't know anything about the history of the 20th century, at least, right? You know nothing about, and he had to be, they had to get out pictures and
breathtakingly incurious.
Yeah, how?
If it's not about him, it doesn't matter.
That's right. He didn't know anything.
I gotta interrupt just for a second.
No, you're fine.
Micah just sent this to me. Nancy Mace is now walking around the halls of the Capitol. With her arm in a sling.
Oh, fuck her. What a grifter. What a disgusting piece of shit. They should demand, the person who got arrested, that she falsely arrested, needs to demand her medical report. She needs to go to a doctor.
Oh, that's the thing. She's insisted upon criminal charges.
Good.
So now...
Good.
Defense counsel will be available to subpoena her medical records.
She better go to the doctor. She better get an x-ray. She better get, I want to see, unlike, of course, we never saw Trader Trump's fake ear injury. These people are really...
Good, nice connection there.
It's true, though. We got a paragraph from Ronnie Jackson, who's not even a practicing physician right now. His license elapsed. And... Nancy Mace is walking around. Everything's a show.
And Candyman Ronnie Jackson got demoted in the Navy and lost his rank for his
for being Dr. Feelgood.
For his conduct unbecoming.
Aren't they all like this? Like, look at this Pete whatever the fuck, Hepsek or whatever. Can't you find somebody who isn't a rapist? And it's all, another high-tech lynching, this is what the left does. Well, why don't you nominate somebody who doesn't have a history of sexual assault?
That could be a thing.
Like, not everybody has a history of sexual assault. I'm sure there are plenty of men that haven't raped somebody.
But Tara, the thing is, he needs those sexual assault men because they provide him cover. He knows that none of them will ever say that anything he has done is beyond the pale or improper, or because he can in turn turn around and say, yeah, but you did it too.
That's right. It's like a circle jerk of corruption that never stops.
I've never had any respect for this Christopher Wray.
Fuck him.
Fuckwit.
This fucking coward.
But the fact of the matter is, this is another example of anticipatory obedience.
Right.
And we're going to see it more and more and more.
Wow.
And that's how fascism takes control.
And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And when I saw that he had resigned, of course, I was absolutely disappointed, but not surprised.
Yeah, why not? But why? But of course, and he's a Republican,
Yeah.
so party over country every
That's right.
goddamn
Well,
time.
he made the mistake of what did he do? He signed off on the fact that Trader Trump had the classified documents at his fucking
a bunch
tacky...
of stolen classified documents, precisely.
And there was no raid. There was there was no. They
And
called
yet-
him
and-
up, and
and
he
the-
wasn't even there. For fuck's
And yet
sake.
and yet there we are with the multimillionaire for-profit media
Yes.
who routinely use the phrase "the raid"
Yes.
on
yes.
Mar-a-Lago.
It's so unreal. That's why the media, and I will say this all the time, the media is the problem in this country. We're living in this shitty timeline because the media, half of the country is thoroughly propagandized, and the other half, is watching corporate media, which isn't really giving them the full story about things. That's for sure. They are obeying in what's the saying? Don't obey in advance.
Yeah, anticipatory obedience.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a story that I covered yesterday. I don't know about the Federal Trade Commission getting a big win over Kroger's in stopping the merger with Albertsons.
Mm-hmm.
Well, buried deep in that story was a little piece of factual fluff that a Kroger executive, during the trial of the case back in 2023, had admitted under oath that Kroger deliberately jacked up the price of dairy and eggs because it could.
Yes. Okay.
To make more profits. So the question I posed last night was, where were the multimillionaires of the for-profit media when all these stupid stories were going around about the price of eggs?
That's right. All they kept saying was, look, they don't feel the economy is doing well, right?
Right. But the price of eggs went up because Kroger executives wanted the price of eggs to go up, and then bird flu.
Yes.
When you have to kill tens of thousands of laying hens.
That's right.
It's going to cut into supply, and when supply and supply and demand says you're going to be paying more for eggs, but the poor little maggots who run on nothing but their goddamn lizard brains are out there going, Joe Biden's raising the price of eggs. That's right.
But you don't hear the corporate media talking about bringing them down to earth and.
No, of course not.
And talking about the reality. All they kept saying. That's what was so. When I review the past whatever years, how it feels like a lifetime, and I think about because the corporate media that's all they would do. They would never give the truth. They would just say, but the economy's doing fine, but people feel it isn't. Why do you keep giving credence and validating the fallacy of how people feel? Who cares? The fact, of course, they feel that way.
They are, but the MAGAts are the originator, for the love of Christ, of fuck your feelings.
Right, exactly. But they feel that way because of the half of the country
Why can't we say fuck your feelings to the stupid people?
You're right. You're right. It's so true. But they're getting this bullshit from the media and the right-wing media that no one, including the Democrats, ever call out. That's another thing that baffles me, and that's why I wish the Democrats would listen to this program and your program and Mike Malloy's program, because they need to. If let's say MSNBC was fined the largest media fine in American history for lying to its viewers, do you think the Republicans will ever stop repeating that? Would they ever?
No.
It would be on the first thing that comes out of their mouth every time they're on TV.
And that's why I live for little moments of pushback, and we're gonna have to cherish them. in the
That's
coming
true.
4 years. Bless his heart, almost without fail, Representative Jerry Connolly of Virginia is not backing down. He's got a lot of seniority in the House, and so
That's
they had
good.
a hearing. They had a hearing yesterday at the House Foreign Affairs Committee, where they were barking and grunting about the withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Oh God. Again.
And Jerry Connolly just destroyed them. Just boom,
Good.
dead. With this precious little moment. Once upon a time, there were, little tchotchkes called precious moments that you could buy. This is one of them. Let me get this thing going here.
I'd like to put a picture up, which seems to suggest, Mr. Secretary, that the Republican narrative is correct about you. There you are with a prominent Taliban negotiator. Do our tech people have that picture?
Wow.
Well, I have it here. Isn't that you with the Taliban negotiator, Mr. Secretary?
And the person he's interrogating is none other than Mike Pompeo.
Nice.
You know, he graduated.
Awesome.
He graduated first in his class from West Point.
Yeah. Did he?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh,
Whatever.
But there's Jerry Connolly sticking a picture of Mike Pompeo standing there
Right.
grinning like a fox eating shit out of a wire brush next to one of the filthy bearded mullahs from the goddamn Taliban.
Wow.
And so there's the question. Let's hear it again.
A Taliban negotiator. Do our tech people have that picture? Well, I have it here. Isn't that you with the Taliban negotiator, Mr. Secretary?
I'm afraid I can't see the picture, but I'm not aware of having spent any time with a
Oh.
Taliban negotiator.
You
Oh.
son of a bitch.
I'm sorry. That's Secretary Pompeo.
Wow.
Uh-oh. Pompeo
Was
wasn't.
he your predecessor in the Biden administration as Secretary of State? In the Biden administration.
No, he was my predecessor in the previous administration, the Trump administration.
The Trump administration.
Yeah,
And here
Anthony
he
Blinken.
is in Doha with the chief Taliban negotiator.
Wow. That's
I
good.
guess I got that wrong. Well, Mr. Secretary, all things seem to flow from Doha.
Yes.
Secretary Pompeo and President Trump appointed a chief negotiator on behalf of the United States for the negotiations in Doha.
Wow.
What was his name?
Zal Khalilzad.
Ambassador Khalilzad. And he, of course, testified before this committee. And I can remember an exchange with him in which I expressed deep concern about the direction of the U.S. posture and the ramifications with allied Afghans who had worked for us or worked with us and women. And he kind of brushed them off at the time. Tell us about the details of the agreement he forged in Doha. What were the chief elements of that? Precisely, if you would.
Yeah. In essence, the agreement provided for this. It provided that the Taliban would not use Afghan soil to attack us or our interests.
Right. No.
It would start an intra-Afghan negotiation. And as part of that negotiation, there would be discussion of a ceasefire and a political roadmap for the future of Afghanistan. And during the time between the agreement and the commitment that we made as part of the agreement to leave Afghanistan by May 31st.
So a firm date was set
Yes.
for all U.S. troops to get out. Is
All
that
the U.S.
correct?
troops were to be out by May
Wow.
31st. In the meantime,
And-
5,000 prisoners were
See?
released from
How quickly
Taliban
we
prisoners.
And as
forget.
Mr. Sherman points out, among those 5,000 were terrorists, fighters, and people who returned to the battlefield against the Afghan government, which
That's correct.
allegedly we were supporting at the time. Now, speaking of that Afghan government, were they in Doha at the negotiating table as equal partners?
They were not.
They were not?
They were not.
Why were they excluded? That's
See?
the government we were supporting.
I can't answer that. I wasn't there at the time, but they were not.
Well, if the government we're supporting is not allowed
Incredible.
to have a voice at the peace negotiations
Absolutely
where a
incredible.
deal was in fact agreed to by the United States, could that conceivably undermine confidence in that government and by that government in itself in terms of its future?
Yes, and indeed, I think General McKenzie has testified to exactly that point, that Doha created a tremendous crisis in confidence and about the future for the Afghan government and presumably to some extent for the Afghan security forces themselves.
Could it also have a morale effect on the Afghan military that we were training and equipping to, in fact, fight the Taliban?
Yes, it could.
So here we are cutting a deal with Taliban while at the same time asking the Afghan military and the Afghan government to resist. Is that correct?
Correct.
That sounds like a contradiction in diplomatic policy to me. That's kind of hard to follow, and it seems to me that we, by agreeing to that in the Trump years with Secretary Pompeo, your predecessor, and Ambassador Khalilzad, we actually set in motion an untenable but probably irrevocable kind of, folding of events. Is that a fair statement, do you think?
Once the deadline was there, all troops out by May 31st of 2021, and as part of that, an agreement from the signing of Doha to that date, not to attack U.S. forces, but with the obvious conclusion to be drawn from that if that deadline was not respected, the Taliban would resume its attacks on U.S. forces, on partner forces, and its attacks on the cities.
So in other words, Mr. Secretary, we cut a deal to get out and cut our losses at the expense of the Afghan government, the Afghan military, and ultimately the Afghan people. And that was all set in motion before you took the oath of office or President Biden took the oath of office. Is that a fair statement?
I think that's where the Doha agreement led.
I thank you, and I yield back.
Let me just state that the Taliban was not in compliance with the Doha agreement when the evacuation was ordered. And your own senior advisor, Ned Price, said that the Doha conditions were, quote unquote, immaterial.
Who's that?
That's the chair of the MAGAt majority of the Foreign Affairs Committee, one Michael McCall of Texas, who had to try, because you never know when Daddy's watching.
That's right. You
And
you
so
want to
he had
please
to-
him.
Had to try to cover somehow for
Wow.
all of this, because
Incredible.
he doesn't want Daddy to be mad at him. He might get primaried.
Yes.
Daddy must always be defended
Yeah. Elon Musk must.
because he's Daddy.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they were the ones that were over there playing footsie, and they put the May 31st deadline in place.
That's right. So what
and then threw a fit when we got out in August.
That's right. And also that he also tried this, Trump signed an executive order for immediate withdrawal from Afghanistan and Somalia, which they didn't follow through on at the time because they said it was going to be catastrophic. And so they ignored this order. I'm talking about the military.
Yeah.
But this was after he lost. He was doing this to sabotage Joe Biden. And the fact that the corporate media, how come people don't hear this? They don't hear this narrative.
They hear about why didn't the people hear about, I mean, I know it's entirely different, domestic versus foreign relations. But again, why didn't the American people hear about the Kroger executive admitting under oath
Absolutely
that they were the ones jimmying the price of eggs and milk?
And before that, I remember a few months ago, it was during the campaign too, that there were audio from these shareholder meetings where CEOs were talking about keeping prices high and blaming inflation.
I mean,
where's that?
I don't drink a lot of pop. Have one during the show, that kind of thing. But I just happened to be in Kroger's last night because even though they're a shitty corporation, when I go to Kroger's, I know I'm at least supporting union households. But it kind of makes my eyes, some of this shit makes my eyes roll back in my head. I was going to get a 12-pack of caffeine-free Coke Zero, unpaid product placement. Oh, boys. Joan Crawford was on the Pepsi board. You put me on the Coke board. Don't fuck with me, fellas. This ain't my first rodeo. But $9.99 per 12-pack.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't drink soda, but that seems like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get the calculator out because I'm not going to try to do this by myself. I might hurt myself. Let's see. 10 divide by 12. Yeah, it's 83 cents a can. That's and so that's the price of a 12-pack. So that explains why a bottle of pop in the store is $3.50 fucking cents. But let's not talk about our corporate betters. Meanwhile, the head of United Health Group has declared that we will continue to vigorously deny claims.
Oh, fuck you. Really? That's what he said?
Yeah.
Wow. And, don't take this as an opportunity to look in the mirror and ask yourself why the people of Earth aren't, shedding a tear for losing a rapacious, greed-centered ghoul that came up with ways to deny Americans health care. No, it's not like they act like, because I played this video of this corporate CEO, another United Healthcare executive, having a meeting on Zoom with, I guess, the employees or whatever, and he was so disappointed and upset that people didn't see what a great guy this guy was. Whoever, I can't remember his name. Who cares? The guy who was killed, and Brian Thompson. Yeah. And why? How much he's given to the health industry, and how much good he did. What good? This is a guy that introduced an AI program into United Healthcare that denied 90% of the claims that came in front of it, which is what it was programmed to do. To look for reasons to deny care, 90%. So you're taking, that's something, that is a sociopath. That's somebody who has no problem taking the humanity out of everything, out of the transaction. There's no human involved here. That's somebody, oh, well, go die. Here's an AI.
That's a claimant. And of
Exactly.
course, they've successfully lobbied state governments all across the fruited plain for so-called tort reform.
Yes.
Which prevents people who have been harmed by insurance companies for being able to sue them and punish them.
Right.
I had a thought last night. We all know the adjuster's name is Luigi Mangione.
Mm-hmm. The adjuster.
I love that. I love
That's
that. That's
good.
And we've all seen the video of the adjusting of Brian Thompson and the denial of his claim for continued existence. But the minute I heard his last name, I immediately, because I'm an early Xer, I immediately thought of something that I heard over and over and over and over again on the radio years and years and years ago by another guy named Mangione. This was Chuck Mangione. And I got to thinking, what would happen if you took that video and just made a loop of it, of Brian Thompson getting adjusted, and then all you put with it was this audio.
I don't know what it is.
You've heard it.
It's a little low. That I don't know what it's a famous one, but is that the music that's on hold when you call?
No, that is a song by Chuck Mangione called Feels So Good.
I thought that was like when you call them, and because when you're trying to save your own life and you're dealing with,
you know what, a hacker needs to get into the phone system of United Health Group and make that their on hold music.
Right. That's true. That would be funny.
But right. No, just the I know I'm being vicious.
No, it's fine.
Just the video of that guy who has deliberately killed tens of thousands, if not millions, of Americans.
How many did he kill? Exactly.
Justice catching up to him with that as the background music.
Right. Well, that's the thing, and I would.
It's happy, it's upbeat,
Yes.
it's perky.
Everyone can, I guess, agree. I guess, let me start. Let me stop. I was going to say,
know.
everybody can, I guess, agree that shooting people in the street is not good. But, it's not like Princess Diana was tragically, suddenly killed in a car crash. It's like, this guy is a parasite. He's a rapacious ghoul.
He was a stone cold killer.
Yeah, who worked for a disgusting industry that has no business even existing at all, because no other industry in the United States could get away with needlessly killing 35,000 Americans every year. That industry would be shut down and bankrupting millions. But the health insurance racket that spends.
But it's also a function of the time in which we live. Consider the fact that I think 28 people back in the day, 28 people died in fiery crashes of the Ford Pinto.
That's right. And
they
something was done.
they shut the Pinto production down.
That's right.
The Pinto was no more.
But there's too much money here.
83 people have died in fiery crashes in Teslas.
Right. Nothing happens.
Because again, this is corporate fascism.
Mm-hmm.
This is the era of laissez-faire, and hey, we can't have no more job killing regulations.
Yes, right. Job killing regulations.
Yeah, and a couple of notes from Sylvie, and this is one just. I love Robyn's show. So educated, references to Shakespeare, Roman, and Greek history, and the art of word knowing. I knew I'd found my home when I heard Robyn pronounce chaise long properly, and adding Tara in with her knowledge of Roman history is just
thank you.
lagniappe. You're both beautiful girls with brains. My favorite Latin curse, Cesare si viveret ad remum dareris. Oh dear. All right.
No, say that again. What?
Cesare si viveret.
Cesare.
Si ad remum dareris. That's above my pay grade. It's been too long since I took Latin, so we're going to be putting that into the Google machine.
Yes.
Cesare.
Caesar.
We wear it.
What?
Ad remum.
Ad remum.
Ad remum.
I don't know.
Dareris. Ah.
Oops.
If Caesar were alive, you would be chained to an oar.
That would be good. I mean, it's just so gross that he was also on his way to some investors meeting. What are you investing in? You're investing in.
He's making the shareholders, the hedge fund managers and like, feel really good about being fucking accessories before the fact to goddamn murder.
Right, and in pain and misery and suffering of the American people, stress, pain. There's so many Americans. I remember reading this article about, this health. When another time, of course, the Republicans were trying to dismantle Obamacare, and if you just Google, I'm alive in spite of the insurance company, that you'll see numerous articles, but one in particular, this woman wrote about how she was born with diabetes, and she's alive in spite of the health insurance racket. Her entire life has been spent battling these fucking ghouls before the ACA. She was uninsurable. And that's one of the things from the very beginning when she was born and the doctors came into the hospital where her mother and father were celebrating her birth. And there they are having to interrupt their moment by warning them about how they're going to have to proceed from now on because this little girl has a pre-existing condition. And it's just, what a disgusting country who does that. And this has been going on for a generation. It's part of the reason. Now, this is why I can't, it's one of my things that I hope to see universal health care before I die at this point.
Right.
I don't know if that's going to happen, but which is very, I used to think it would happen, but it's getting
and I'm proud to
yeah.
be an
I
American,
know.
or at least I know I'm free.
Free to be a nothing but a host from which the corporate rapacious parasites suck profit and discard. That's
Yes.
all. And
Yeah.
but it's just that I hope to see, I hope to see universal health care. I don't think I'm going to see it. But one of the things that really irritates me about the Democrats too, because and in general, the corporate media talks about, oh, America's so divided. Well, we're so divided because they continue to divide us, and this is one of the things that they divide us on, and it's a clever tactic, right? Which is why FDR made Social Security belong to all of us, as he said, so no damn politician can scrap it. It belongs to everybody. That's why Republicans want to make it a means-tested program so they can defund it. But rich and poor, from Trader Trump down to some lowly MAGAt in a meth lab somewhere,
Yeah.
they get Social Security, right?
Mm-hmm.
Same should be true for health care, for just like it is for public education. It should
That's
be for
okay.
higher education.
They'll be taking care of that.
Oh, yes,
soon,
that's
too.
true. Well, all of this is why this country is so divided, because we're so divided because they divided. That's why the Democrats, I wish, would pick up, let's say, FDR's second Bill of Rights as a shorthand and fighting for universal health care, but as we know, Democrats, even the Democrats themselves are divided. Of Medicare for all, they don't, well, you don't want to have to take health care from some like union, person that they negotiated a great no, you everyone in, nobody out. That should be the only American value, and that's how it should be presented. That we don't leave anybody behind, and I don't understand why Democrats don't do that. Well, now that I'm saying that, I do understand it. It's because of money. They're getting paid, but we have money in politics, and health insurance racket pours a lot of money into the political environment, and it's not just the Republicans. It's mostly Republicans, but it's the Democrats too. They take money from them, so that's why. But that's how it should be presented, that it's a it's not just a good thing. It's not just cost effective. That's the other thing. It is all of those things. It is cost effective. We pay more than every other country, and we get less. We leave millions out, and we rank dead last in all positive measures year after year after year. So how would any other industry be allowed to continue to operate like that? And that's why, if Democrats had a clue, if they listened to our shows here, that how you present it is you unapologetically present it as a patriotic imperative. We don't leave people behind in America. And if you're a patriot, you should be equally appalled at that.
Yeah.
But they do, but this is why they keep us divided. You understand? They have us so divided, like the red states against the blue states. The Democrats don't do that. The Democrats don't go on about how, we don't want to be like Tennessee but the red state, but these, Republicans do that. They the Massachusetts liberals and California liberals, they're always dividing us. And the Democrats don't return the favor, but anyway. I'm going on a rant here, but
no, it's okay. And what you said to begin it all, the question of whether or not Democrats can be counted on to mount any sort of a loyal opposition.
Please.
I don't know if you realize it, but today the House voted on the annual Defense Authorization Act. Mm-hmm. $895.2 billion. It's got a 14.5% pay raise for junior enlisted service members and spending on quality of life issues like housing and child care. But the ultimate vote was 281 to 140. Okay. Fewer than half of the Democrats voted in favor of the bill, but the thing is, there was still 61 of them or so. And here's what's important about this. Usually, it's not a heavy lift. You know, you'll get a handful of dissenters, but it goes through. But at the insistence of Speaker Mullah Moses Mike Johnson, who hears God talking to him and probably needs some pretty heavy-duty medication for that.
Yeah.
At the last hour, he insisted that a ban be inserted into the Defense Authorization Act.
Oh no.
That would prevent the children of service members who happen to be, here we are again,
trans.
From receiving gender-affirming care through the federal, the military insurance system called TRICARE.
Yeah, what a horrible dirtbag he is. What a disgusting.
But the thing is, 140 Democrats said, nope, can't support it. But let's see, what is that? That would be 60,
well,
72. 72 Democrats said, yeah, fuck the trans kids.
Right.
Cool.
Well,
maybe
never.
Could we just have it? Could we just have them shot?
Yeah. It's these fucking Democrats that never miss the opportunity to learn the wrong lesson from losing an election. Of course, they probably think they have to be more MAGAt-like in some way and have to hate trans people. They gotta hate. They know they don't have courage, these fuckers, and it's absolutely appalling and disgusting. And it will, it's not gonna age well, but in the meantime, people are gonna get hurt. I'm trying to find who voted, who the Democrats are. Well, we could. What's it called? Let me see. I can look it up.
The Defense Authorization Act. Dems voting in favor.
Authorization Act. Dems.
16 Republicans voted no.
Oh, okay.
81 voted yes. 80. So 81 Democrats said fuck the trans kids. The National Defense Authorization Act.
Let's see.
Adam Smith, the House Armed Services Committee ranking Democrat, said blanketly denying health care to people who clearly need it just because of a biased notion against transgender people is wrong. This provision injected a level of partisanship not traditionally seen in defense bills.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, well, welcome to this shitty timeline.
Yeah. It's always, at this point, it's really beyond the pale how much they target trans youth. And I don't know how any trans child or family of a trans child or anyone with any normal American can sleep easy at night knowing that there's this less than 1% of the population that is taking up so much space in the hateful minds of a MAGA.
That's part of it. It's easy to do.
And not to even to think this is okay and normal and we should just go about our business. This is disgusting. And it's right out of the Nazi playbook, that's for sure. And something like this, that's why, when whenever they were talking about Godwin's Law, we should never bring up Nazis or you automatically lose the argument. And I was always arguing that we should bring up Nazis. We should have we should be hyper vigilant against what the Nazis are and how they seep into a civilization, how that ideology seeps in there and poisons the body politic. Just like this, targeting trans people it's pathological at this point with these fucking people. And there's nothing, they don't get anything out of it except political points. What are they trying to do? Of course, they don't give a shit about trans people. They just want to hurt a targeted minority. They want to target. They need a minority group to target, basically. Yeah. And trans people are it at this moment. But the fact that there's over 700 bills introduced in the United States in the last year for these, from maggots targeting trans. It's just out of the realm of normalcy. Get the fuck out of people's lives. It's so unbelievable. But I don't know. There's so many other things to deal with. Meanwhile,
and the thing, I'm listening. I'm sitting here
I know.
I'm trying to find a list of the vote count.
Yeah.
Because I want to know who the Democrats were who voted. Yeah, it's okay. Fuck the trans kids.
Yeah. Let me see.
I mean, these are the children of people. Our warriors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Our war fighters. These are their kids at home when they're deployed or at sea.
Yes, that's right.
And these are the kids that honey, I know you're deployed and everything, but our baby they couldn't take it anymore.
Right.
And of course we couldn't get her care. So, sorry. Can you imagine getting that call?
Yeah.
And then thank you for that, Mullah Moses Mike Johnson, who cares about the children.
Right. Please, I wish, if only.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
I need to send out a thank you to Ralphs. Ralphs, thank you so very kindly. Ralphs got us down to 665. Oh, just one off that magic number. Down to 665. If we manage to scrounge up another $66, we would be fully funded for last Monday. That would be humongous. Again, power bill. The drop dead on the power bill is Thursday, so fingers crossed.
So now, this guy who has his son monitoring his masturbation habits.
Yes.
Is going to interfere with families trying to,
care for their children.
Yeah, that's it. Care for their children. And they know nothing. These people know nothing about what they're voting on, and except that it scores them points to be disgusting and hateful.
And it keeps the checks getting written.
It's absolutely gross.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Elon Musk and Trader Trump tweeted something about how if you put $1 billion into the American economy, blah blah blah, you will be fast tracked. But you will receive fully expedited approvals and permits. Can you believe that? Meaning, you get to rape the environment, do whatever the fuck you want. Get ready to rock. He posts in
I saw
all
that.
caps.
It's just sickening.
And this is from the Leopards Eating My Face blog, and or on Reddit, and one of the maggots writes, "So I'm a Trump fan, but this is government engaging in corporate corruption and making unfair playing fields for other business owners. What does this do to small businesses trying to compete with billionaires? Yeah, Elon, I'm sure you're pumped. But now with this, because how much money you have, but what about the normal American business owner?" Of course, this is probably a business owner, because Republicans only see the light when something affects them directly. So, and he goes on, "Maybe Trump bringing you in was a bad idea, because this is insane. All Americans should be against this. If you want to make it better, make the process easier, but not just for billionaires. What the fuck? What WTF?" Well, but of course, we can guarantee this person is a business owner, but not a billionaire, and of course that's why he's railing against it. The corruption is real, it's going to get worse. I don't know if you saw that I don't know. Wait, Anna Kasparian. You see what's going on
Yeah.
with TYT or whatever?
Well, I mean, I haven't had any respect for
know.
them for ages, but
It's unbelievable. She went
Now
on Glenn
Anna-
Beck.
yeah, now Anna Kasparian. Yeah, what is she? She's off. She's off on the trans again too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I listened to that, whatever interview with her and Glenn Beck, and it's appalling, the normalization of these maggots, as if this, and it's like what happened on Morning Joe and whatnot, and Mika and Joe going and then crying about David Frum saying that you're too drunk for Fox News, and then of course them kicking him off and whatever. It's not just the obeying in advance, it's the normalization of this so-called populist movement. It's not there's nothing sincere about it. They're not draining the swamp. When they talk about draining the swamp, what they mean, or getting rid of the deep state. What's the deep state? When they say the deep state, what they mean is democracy. What they mean is accountability for the
checks
rich.
and balance. Checks
That's
and balances.
it.
Anybody?
That's it. So the maggots, as if all of these billionaires are surrounding Trump, his cabinet of freaks and curiosities, and
Oh my God! Wait a minute. Have you ever gotten a Ramalama Ding Dong before?
I don't.
You just did.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think I have.
Freaks and curiosities.
Yes, that's what it is. Trump's cabinets of freaks and curiosities. I should do a meme about that.
Yeah, the denizens of Ripley's Believe It or Not
Absolutely.
Auditorium.
It's like
ODDITORUM.
you will not believe your eyes at these freaks and curiosities. I could see it in my mind. I should make like a poster, And but the fact is, they're not in there making the world safe for democracy. Democracy is a hindrance to what these assholes have in mind. And listening to Anna Kasparian, I was so infuriated because she's normalizing these people. She's like, oh, the left is so, they're so fanatical. They don't want to talk to the MAGAs or whatever. Like, we're always talking, and we're always told to reach out to the maggots, right? I would love
we have to reach across the aisle.
Right. We're constantly reaching across the aisle.
Back, and
we pull back a bone.
Yeah.
Exactly. We pull back a bone. But the thing is, when do you hear the maggots or any Republican talk about we got to reach across the aisle to Democrats? Never. And without
that's treasonous. Going
Yes.
all the way, way back to the earliest days
That's right.
of the oxymoron out there blathering into a microphone.
That's
My friends, the Republicans are committing treason. We cannot negotiate with terrorists.
Anything having to do, any Democratic anything is treason. They certainly have no problems taking credit for the success of Democratic policies, like when J.D. Vance during the debate said that wages went up under Trump and of course Walls failed to mention that only because Democratic states were passing $15 minimum wage laws that Republicans opposed. But okay, and there they go, taking credit, of course, like he's now saying he saved Obamacare, which is unfucking believable. But and she's there talking to Glenn Beck as if they're finding common ground here. And of course she's bashing Democrats, saying Democrats are, they're alienating the right. But honestly, the fact is, I don't have a problem having a conversation with anyone who's like, low taxes on the rich and deregulation. These people are not operating from a set of facts or reality. They live in a world where, when they talk about the deep state, that it's this corrupt arm trying to stop their dear leader, who's only trying to make America great by what? Robbing and stealing, and who the fuck knows, right? By stealing classified documents, by sending a mob to the Capitol, by trying to overturn an election, by, raping E. Jean Carroll, on and on. And she's, the fact that she's even having this conversation as if they are a sincere movement, a real populist movement, as if any of these billionaires in the cabinets of Freaks and Curiosity is spending an ounce of energy trying to get the price of eggs down, or whatever.
They're trying to get Big Egg to cut them a check.
That's it. And as if they're sincerely trying to make America work for the little maggot. No way, lady. Are you cool? I mean,
Chumps.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, let me just throw this out there for your consideration. Oh my God. Maybe you saw this on Leopards Eating People's Faces. This is precious. A quote from Moscow Mitch McConnell. We're in a very, very dangerous world right now.
Oh, shit.
Reminiscent of before World War II. Even the slogan is the same. America first.
Is that what he... Oh, my God.
That was what they said in the 1930s.
Now you tell us, lady?
Yeah.
What? Bitch,
you had a chance there, Mitch.
Wow.
Fuck.
He had so many
All you
chances.
had to do was recommend that the Senate convict Donald Trump.
Yes.
In his impeachment trial, and he never would have been eligible to run for president again.
All he had to do was whip a couple of more votes. He could have done it if they all stuck together, and they knew he deserved it. And he's like, Trump,
here we are.
Trump is not above the law. He faces all the legal repercussions. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit.
He can be charged. He can be charged with a crime in the federal court.
But not here. Not in. I mean, now. Hello. You stupid. When did he say this? I'm sorry.
It's on Brian Tyler Cohen's feed, so it's recent.
Oh my God. Oh, he says December 11th.
Yeah, today.
God, MAGAt? What the hell? Mitch, we're in a very dangerous world right now, reminiscent of before World War II. And for them, and that's the other thing, that the part of this grift that Trump is some kind of peacenik. Get the fuck out of here. And that's the other thing that they were talking about on this interview.
Well, I mean, he is a peacenik to the extent that he will sell the United States out to the highest bidder,
right?
Whether it's Pooty or Mohammed bin Bonesaw.
Exactly, and that's it. He won't lift a finger to help a Democratic ally, small d democracy, try to stave off the autocratic designs of his master Putin. That's for sure. I mean, they had Kasparian and Glenn Beck. Well, I don't know what you feel about Ukraine, but their whole thing is like how much money is going into Ukraine, as if Ukraine wanted to have a war with Russia.
How much money do you want to spend on World War III after Russia rolls over Ukraine and goes into Poland, Latvia, Lithuania?
They never say anything about...
Then shit is real.
Right, but they never say anything about Israel, of course, right? How much money's going to Israel to bomb Gaza or whatnot. But that's fine. They never bring that up. But they always have to talk about Ukraine. Ukraine didn't ask to be invaded, and we're on the right side of democracy. That's what we're doing. And then because Anna Kasparian was all like, oh, now it's so weird because the lefties they're the ones that are warmongering, as if Trump is some kind of fucking remedy for, violence, and he loves peace. He doesn't love peace. He's a goddamn capitulator. He's a freaking goddamn traitor. He's a Putin puppet.
He would let blood run in the streets.
Yes, if it
and
served him.
And has said he wants to use the military to do just that.
That's right, and that's going to happen.
Regarding Anna Kasparian, Kim just wrote in from New York. I used to watch The Young Turks and thought Anna Kasparian was intelligent and thoughtful, so it's really disappointing to hear that she's lost her mind.
It's crazy.
I just came across this on Reddit from Anna.
Uh-oh. Robyn's got a cough button. That's good. I don't have one. I just cough in people's ears. And they love me anyway. It's okay.
No, she wrote, my evolution started in 2022 when I was sexually assaulted by a homeless man in my neighborhood as I was walking my dog.
As if, okay.
That horrible experience alone didn't change me politically, but the treatment I received from the far left
That's what
and
she
some
said, yeah.
progressives
Like what?
after sharing the story did. I was told that by publicly sharing what had happened to me, I was stigmatizing my unhoused neighbors. Others accused me of feeding into
doubt that.
racist tropes because they assumed that my attacker was black.
Bullshit.
But I had never even disclosed the man's race. He was white. Not only did I suddenly see the flawed thinking of some on the left, some is in italics,
Wow.
I also witnessed their cruelty and hypocrisy in real time.
Oh, wow.
These terrible traits that I had associated solely with my political opponents were obviously not exclusive to their tribe. I was stupid for ever thinking that was the case.
She's got no actual examples of what was said, of course. That's why it stinks
you would
of,
maybe quote those things.
Right, like what did anybody say? Yeah, I'm on the left. So are you. I don't know. I wouldn't be like, oh no, don't say that about an unhoused person. When you no, I highly doubt.
I would condemn it if it happened to Marjorie Trader.
Exactly. It smells of bullshit to me because I am a lefty. I can't see anybody I know acting like saying, don't say anything. Bullshit. We'd be like, this is fucked up, and shit's got to change. This is bullshit.
Kim adds, and in an interview with Jillian Michaels, she went on to talk about some people on the left disempower and infantilize minorities, people of color. She mentioned
that's
a specific
Republican
example.
trope. Right there.
She mentioned a specific example of how Culver City High School in California recently eliminated honors classes and switched to a one-size-fits-all education because the courses were failing to enroll enough Black and Latino students. Jesus Christ.
That sounds like a Republican trope to me.
It absolutely is, and it also means the check is cleared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Because it's not just Anna Kasparian, it's Cenk too.
Yes.
Okay.
He's another one. He felt optimistic about Trump.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you though, right? You're a straight white rich man.
And see, they have always followed the money. This has never been about providing information or a forum for people to exchange ideas. The Young Turks have been a money-making dodge for fucking ever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember,
it's so clear. How could anybody? That's why I say. Sorry.
Cenk was involved with Wolfpack. That was that dipshit bunch that wanted to join with the Republicans in calling for an Article 5 constitutional convention of the states.
Right. That bullshit.
Okay.
That absolutely.
And he was in on the ground floor of what was, and I guess they still are, a going concern called Justice Democrats.
Yes.
Whose purpose was to run progressive challengers against incumbent Democrats in various districts. And he got bounced out of that when it turned out that he had published some really disgusting misogynistic filth at the beginning of this century. So, look, Anna Kasparian is no different than Joe and Mika. Everybody but you, me, Malloy, a few others, everybody but us are out there trying to figure out a way to get that MAGAt dollar.
Yes, that's right.
Because it's a very good dollar, Tara. It absolutely is. I need to send out thanks to Libby. Libby got us down to $6.45. We're $45 away from being fully funded for last Monday. Thank you so much. And a couple of notes coming in, going back to the trans discussion, because it's important when trans voices speak up and talk about our own experiences. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this, and it may come across as shitty. I don't mean it to. I have never compromised on my position that men have absolutely not a goddamn word to say about abortion unless it is to simply say the choice belongs to the woman and herself alone. Okay? So in line with that, I cherish my allies. I cherish our allies. I cherish you. I cherish the Horn Family Community Congregation. But in the midst of all of this debate, so-called, somebody needs to stand up and say, there is not a cis person in this country who has a valid opinion about trans lives. And it is patently wrong to use the halls of government to interrogate trans existence.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Okay? Trans people know what trans people need. We know, and I mean, it's absolutely true, because when we start our care, we have to go. Most of the trans people I know who get medical care know more about their endocrine systems, know more about the action of hormones on their bodies than any doctor they will ever go to. I'm fortunate in that I am not in that group, because I'm fortunate enough to have a care provider who is actually, and it's not easy to do, and there aren't many of them, but she is actually certified by the World Professional Association for Transgender Health. So she knows what the fuck she's talking about. I'd say north of 96% of physicians in this country do not. The providers who know the most are the ones, are in most instances not MDs or DOs. They are certified nurse practitioners who work closely on a daily basis with trans people. And so, you know, we know more about dosing. We know more about what it does to our bodies. We know what it does for our bodies. And for some micro penis like Mike Johnson to be talking about what some Bronze Age filthy desert god said about and didn't say anything at all, well, that's just a fig leaf over pure untrammeled hatred. And I got this note from Cynthia a little bit ago. I consider Cynthia one of my big sisters. And she said, went back when we were talking about TRICARE and the trans kids of military, serving military. I know how I felt growing up, and how afraid I was and ashamed of myself as a child. If I was experiencing this vocal hate then, I have no doubt I would have committed suicide. I was super vulnerable. I guarantee they're going to kill kids. I hope they're happy with themselves. Psychopaths.
Yes.
And yeah, look, we're at a point where I don't even like talking about this. It breaks my heart to even mention it, Tara. But the fact of the matter is, somewhere down the road, I am terrified that we're going to need a Mamie Till. You know, Emmett Till's mama.
Yeah.
And we're going to need, when it happens, and it already happens. You know, I think of the little trans girl who threw herself in front of a fucking truck or a bus.
Right.
And her note said, "I just hope my death can help make things better in the future for others like me." Thinking that perhaps society would look up and say, we don't want this to happen anymore. But this is a society that can't even bring itself to say, we don't want any more kids. We don't want any more cis kids gunned down in our fucking schools.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, you know, what happened to Matthew Shepard.
But there's you know, and the anniversary of his murder came around, and social media was full of, oh, that didn't have nothing to do with him being gay. That was a drug deal gone
bullshit.
Bad. Bullshit.
Absolute bullshit. But of course they rewrite history and party of personal responsibility and all.
But the bottom, at some point in time, somebody is going to have to carry a casket and set it at Mike Johnson's fucking door.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, because remember how the march on the Selma to Montgomery march began. It was a matter of carrying a murdered body from the place where they had been murdered to the steps of the Alabama State Capitol. And we remember Bloody Sunday, and we've seen the photographs of, you know, John Lewis.
Right. Well, that's yeah. I mean, in that interview, Anna Kasparian was talking about how, the left is so off, cuckoo and crazy, that we're not listening to right-wingers and their perceived safety issues around trans women in bathrooms. What fucking perceived safety issue? There's no perceived safety issues. I mean, there you go. There's no. What's
well, but see, you have to put perceived in there to let it do all the heavy lifting for the fact that there are no safety issues.
Right, and in fact, the safety issue really falls on trans women who are under attack in bathrooms. They're going to be assaulted.
But they have to. But in a way, again, it's all diversion, Tara, because they have to do this because the real threat to women in this country are MAGAt men.
Yes, that's
okay?
right.
Your body, my choice.
That's right.
Okay. And that's where the hell and damnation comes in. There has never been a sign that says women in front of a restroom that has ever stopped a cis male rapist. Not ever.
That's
ever.
right.
Rapey white men don't go, oh, it says women, I guess I can't go in there. No. Anna Kasparian was walking her dog in her neighborhood when it happened to her.
Yes, was it?
That was no trans woman.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And but God forbid she actually calls out the real root of the problem, and that is cisgender men.
Yes. Right, exactly. Perceived safety of trans women in bathrooms. I'm under attack. Well, you didn't get attacked by a trans woman in a bathroom, lady. So,
no.
I mean, that's what I'm saying when she's saying how the left, the response from the left.
And so,
give me a break.
putting a bow and wrapping all this up on, and so
time.
there goes Nancy Mace sashaying through the halls of Congress with her little arm in a sling because the mean trans ally shook her hand too hard.
I know. Give me a break.
Is she sure she didn't shake hands with Nitwit Nero recently?
Unbelievable.
Because he always tries to go in with the hand crusher.
Yes. True.
Yeah.
True. I don't know. She should be ashamed of herself, but then again, if she had any shame, she wouldn't be a maggot. So it's beyond baffling to me. I don't understand how a person like that even exists, how they know how full of shit they are. And
yes.
I saw a picture of her with where somebody made the correlation between, and they put a picture of there was a picture of her in front of the bathroom, and it said biological. She stuck biological women on the top of the sign that said women, and right next to a picture from somebody, some white bitch in front of a bathroom that said white women. And it's the same thing,
Sure it is.
White women,
biological
women.
That's why I'm still managing to have a little bit of hope for the Scrimeti decision coming down, because, Amy Covid Barrett, the handmaid, actually made those distinctions relative to bigotry against trans kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if Neil Gorsuch stays true to his holding in Bostock and takes her with him,
that would be good.
That's 5.
When are we going to find out?
Probably the last week of June.
Oh, God. Oh.
And by then, the federal government will have disavowed its support for the lawsuit and bailed out.
Yeah.
That's why it was actually important that this case was scheduled by the Supreme Court for argument in December, because after January 20th, we will have a new Solicitor General, and the incoming U.S. Attorney, head of the DOJ Civil Rights Division, is a terrible human being named Harmeet Dhillon.
Ugh, sounds terrible.
Who has a long history of advocating for trans torture.
Oh, God.
And so the United States will end its support for the plaintiff's position in this case, and it'll just be the ACLU and the Tennessee parents all by themselves without the force of the government behind them. It's terrifying, Tara.
I'm sorry. It is
I mean,
terrifying.
And I don't,
It's disgusting, and that's why
and
everybody needs to speak up.
I have to think about it every day, and trying to put things in place to be safe or be able to go somewhere safe. It's a nightmare. It's a horror. But I do want to mention one thing. We had a little warming trend recently. So last time we talked, I had my little fuzzy hat on and everything because I was freezing back here. I'm not freezing.
That's good.
And this next brutal cold snap, we'll be able to heat the house, and it's because of you.
Oh.
And I thank you so much, dear. I love you dearly.
I love you too.
Thank you, and thank you for
Aw.
that heat. Thank you.
Of course, my love. Of course, my love. We are in this together.
That we are.
Well, when I'm hearing you talk, and one of the things as a Buddhist, I practice Buddhism, as you know.
Yes.
My mother was a nun, my father was a garbage man, so of course I'm a practicing Buddhist. So whenever I get very down about things in my life and the shitty timeline we're in, I think that, there's a Buddhist concept that we picked it, right? We picked our timeline. We picked our circumstances. So we were born exactly in the right time to do the best good for
that we possibly
could. And you picked this to go through this lifetime as a trans woman in a very disgusting and divisive time.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I know it's not comforting, but it's the one thing that is.
Well, at least it gives me a little hope, because there are other schools of thought that say we're just recycling until we work off all the bad karma.
Right. Well, now that's.
It's easier for me to think that some manifestation of me in the past picked this,
right,
rather than it being some sort of karmic punishment for being a shitty human being in another life.
Well, there you go, and that's why I practice different Buddhism, but I found Nichiren Buddhism, and it's a social justice kind of Buddhism, which I really like. It's an active Buddhism. You don't take your ass to a mountain. Anybody can be calm and enlightened on a mountain. We have to do it in our daily lives. And
right.
In fact, in this form of Buddhism, you have an obligation to speak up when you see injustice and stand up. And that's why I practice with the SGI, which is the Soka Gakkai. It's a lay Buddhist organization. And I love the Soka Gakkai because, just for example, there's in the Soka Gakkai, there's different divisions: women's division, men division, young women's, but so the young women's and young men's division is now the young women's and non-binary division, and same thing for the men, so it's a very inclusive Buddhism. And the more that and that's why I really love about the SGIs, because there's everyone is welcome. It's the most diverse group of people I've ever, practiced with or whatnot. And there's no, condemnation of your human experience. We're in this together. And I really appreciated that about the organization, that they deliberately in this time changed, their divisions to include those, women and non-binary, just so that it was a statement that, you're welcome here. And we're all, we're all in this together. That's That's why we say we stick together, we win. It's really true, and that's probably why I'm so angry all the time too. But I mean, I am angry at the injustice and also the missed opportunities. When I see somebody like Nancy Mace and how the Republicans act and whatnot, and just how disgustingly divisive they are and hateful, and I imagine how different it would be if they simply stopped dividing people, stop being so hateful, welcome people and mind your own business. I don't know. We got a lot of work to do. That's all I got to say.
Give me 1 second here. I think I finally found a link.
To what?
To so that we can at least name and shame.
Oh, good.
The Democrats who threw trans kids under the bus.
Yes, and I want to thank, while you're doing that, Ed on the chat. Thank you so much for your super chat, Ed. Only a couple of bucks. Sorry.
There he is.
You don't need to be sorry.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you for supporting Tara. The first name that pops up, the Great Hope.
Oh no.
The Great Hope for replacing Rafaelito Eduardo Cruz, the anointed booger-eating future king of America. Colin Allred voted to throw trans kids under the bus. He voted to hurt trans kids.
Wow.
Let's see.
Disgusting person. Well, it's the perceived
and of course
threat,
he's from Texas.
Because they're cowards, absolute cowards.
There were some absences. Bishop of Georgia voted to hurt trans kids. He's a Democrat.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
What a disgrace.
Let's see. Keep going.
Wow. They should be embarrassed.
Budzinski of Illinois, a Democrat, voted for more trans kids to kill themselves. Caraveo of Colorado, a Democrat, voted to hurt the trans children of military service members. Carbajal of California voted to hurt the trans kids of active duty service members.
What a filthy, disgusting waste of human DNA.
Cartwright of Pennsylvania, Nancy Cartwright.
Wow, shame on her.
Voted to hurt trans kids.
Wow.
Case, a Democrat from Hawaii, voted to hurt trans kids. Castor of Florida, a Democrat, said, yeah, go ahead, hurt the trans kids. Cool by me. Chu of California was a nay vote. I'm sorry. I was
going to say, wow, I'd be surprised at that.
Cherphilius McCormick of Florida said, yeah, fuck those trans kids. There's a lot here, but Costa of California said, yeah, don't care if the trans kids kill themselves. Courtney of Connecticut said, sure, let the trans kids kill themselves, dying for care. I'm good with that. Crow of Colorado said, yeah, fuck those trans kids. Cuellar of Texas, sure, fuck those trans kids. Davis of North Carolina said, yeah, trans kids, why would anybody even want to have a trans kid? Yeah,
right.
Better off dead. Dean, a woman from Pennsylvania, a Democrat, yeah, fuck those trans kids.
Wow.
Jesus Christ, this one hurts.
Oh no.
Rosa DeLauro of Connecticut.
Wow.
fuck those trans kids.
What the fuck?
How depressing.
Wow.
I knew there'd be one that
what?
hurt.
Why?
Yeah. Escobar of Texas said, fuck those trans kids. Anna Eshu of California said, fuck those trans kids. Jesus.
Wow. I'm really in shock about Delora.
Yeah, it breaks my heart.
Her stupid purple hair, you know? I mean,
Lois Frankel of Florida, a Democrat. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
wow.
The youngest member of Congress, however, Max Frost of Florida, he said nay. He'll be going to the Senate soon. Ruben Gallego of Arizona said, fuck those trans kids.
What? Wow.
Yeah, and this is from the clerk of the House.
That's
Jared
crazy.
Golden, that little sack of shit from Maine. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
Oh my God.
Gonzalez, the Democrat Gonzalez from Texas, fuck those trans kids. Gottheimer of New Jersey, yeah, fuck those trans kids. Al Green of Texas got it right. That's inspiring. Raul Grijalva was not voting. Harder of California, a Democrat, said, fuck those trans kids. Hayes, Johanna Hayes of Connecticut, said, yeah, fuck those trans
Wow.
kids. She's a member of the squad, you know.
Who?
Johanna
Hayes?
Hayes.
Why? What the hell?
Himes of Connecticut. Jim Himes said, yeah, fuck those trans kids. Horsford of Nevada, yeah, fuck those trans kids. Houlihan of Pennsylvania, yeah, fuck those trans kids. Steny Hoyer of Maryland,
Wow.
fuck those
Of
trans
course.
kids.
He's a dirtbag.
Sorry this is taking so long.
It's a shame.
Ivy of Maryland, supposedly a refuge state. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Jackson of North Carolina, Democrat. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. At least Pramila Jayapal got it right. Now here. Hakeem Jeffrey.
No, really? What?
The House Minority Leader said, yeah, fuck those trans kids.
What the fuck?
He may
Holy
have done it for purposes for parliamentary purposes, but he may just be okay with fucking trans kids.
Wow.
Marcy Captor of Ohio, yeah, fuck those trans kids. I'm waiting here. I know we're gonna get we're in the K's. I'm sorry. Kennedy, a Democrat of New York. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Landsman, a Democrat from Ohio. Yeah. Who cares if they commit suicide? Larson of Washington. Fuck those trans kids. Lee of Nevada. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Levin of California. Fuck those trans kids. Ted Lieu of California.
No way. What?
Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
Wow.
Zoe
No.
Lofgren of California. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
What the fuck? I'm shocked. I'm absolutely
sickened.
shocked.
Magaziner of Rhode Island. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Manning of North Carolina. Why don't we just go ahead and kill those trans kids? McBath of Georgia. Lucy McBath, whose own son died of gun violence. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. McClellan of Virginia. Fuck those trans kids. Meeks of New York.
Wow.
Fuck those trans kids. Mafume of Maryland. Fuck those trans kids.
Wow. It's shocking. And fucked up.
Morell of New York. Fuck those trans kids. Moskowitz, Jared Moskowitz
No way.
of Florida.
Oh my
Fuck
God.
those trans
No.
kids.
Wow. This is horrible.
Mervyn of Indiana. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
Wow. This is disgusting.
At least Seth Moulton voted nay.
What the fuck?
Nickel of North Carolina. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Hanetta of California. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Pappas of New Hampshire. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Mary Peltola of Alaska.
Oh my God. Why?
Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Perez of Washington. Fuck those trans kids. Peters of California.
incredible.
Fuck those trans kids.
Family first. Fucking scums. I have to remind myself to call Hakeem Jeffries' office tomorrow.
Ruiz of California. Fuck those trans kids. Ruppersberger of Maryland. Fuck those trans kids. It's like it's like the whips didn't even try to
Right.
whip this vote at all.
This is disgusting.
Ryan of New York. Fuck those trans kids. Schulten, a Democrat from Michigan. Fuck those trans kids. Schreier of Washington. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Bobby Scott of Virginia. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Terry Sewell of Alabama. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. I mean, Cheryl of New Jersey. Fuck those trans kids.
Wow. So
Alyssa
disgusting.
Slotkin
Wow.
of Michigan. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
Oh, her too. God in heaven.
Soto of Florida. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Who needs them anyway?
Wow. How
Stanton of Arizona.
disgusting.
Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Strickland of Washington. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Swazi of New York. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
I'm not surprised he's a coward.
Sykes of Ohio. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Thanadar of Michigan. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Thompson of California. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Benny Thompson of Mississippi. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Tonko, New York. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Torres of New York. Nay. Trone of Maryland. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Vasquez of New Mexico. Yeah, fuck those trans kids. Sorry for all the dead air, but I'm scrolling.
Mm-hmm. Just shocked. I'm absolutely shocked about many of them.
Wild of Pennsylvania. Yeah, fuck those trans kids.
Lou?
Wild? Yeah, I know.
No, I'm just like, huh? Why?
Wilson of Florida. Fuck those trans kids. So there you have the roll of shame. Those are the pieces of human garbage who said that trans kids of serving military members are expendable.
Ugh. Well, they know better.
There were 16 Republicans who voted against it. They probably voted against it because it wasn't cruel enough to trans people.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Oh, and by the way, there was not in this bill enhanced, which had been hoped for, enhanced support for IVF services for serving military families.
Oh, I thought Trump was the king of fertilization.
Yeah, I know.
And he's, we stand with IVF. Yeah, I mean, oh, God. Take me away. Where are the aliens? Aliens. I'm ready.
I know.
Beam me and the 4 cats and the guinea pig up, please.
Yeah, no kid. I've seen Boudica a few times this evening.
She's here. She's right here.
Oh, she's camouflaged. I see.
She's in her. She was there for a while and then she jumped down and now she's back.
Yeah, she's there she is.
Good girl.
She's in hiding, waiting to attack the Romans.
Yes, she totally is. And AKA my computer. Every morning I've been waking up and she knocks everything off. I don't know. She's finally found my computer area and she likes to destroy it. I actually had to put this thing up there. You know what that is? It's called SCAT.
No.
It's like an air. It puffs air.
Oh.
It's supposed to be motion activated. It is, but it's not working right now.
Oh, how fun.
Oh, it's good. If you don't...
Yeah, I mean,
it's a way of... Yeah,
it's not traumatizing.
No, it just scares them. Like the air puffs out, and then you don't have a negative... They don't have a negative association with you. Like yelling at them or something. It's just the thing that, they're like, don't go up there. There's that thing up there. There's that monster. Oh, there it goes. It takes a minute for it to kick in. You see?
Yeah, I heard it.
It's just air. It's compressed air.
Yeah. Get down.
Oh, look.
Get down.
Boudica's looking at it. She's a good girl. She's looking at
She's a very good
things.
kitty. As we wrap up, a note from Sylvie. I'm terminally ill with kidney disease and heart failure. I find great comfort and a sense that I was put here for a purpose by thinking back on my life and seeing the things I've done to help others. My activism began at age 11 when I drew an award-winning poster for fire prevention that went on to be used in a national fire prevention campaign. I've never been a world shaker, but you all, hostesses and listeners, the fact that you are listening to this program, the fact that you seek in your own lives to make the lives of others easier, you are adding to the light in the universe. When I do die, it will be with no regrets, none. All of you have blessed me with so much. Thank you all.
Wow. I'm
Sylvie,
gonna cry. Thank you.
Sylvie, thank you for sharing your truth.
Really,
And
thank you.
thank you for the lives you have changed. We don't know the lives we change. We don't know the lives we touch. Every great once in a while, somebody will say, you really make a difference.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And that's why I do the show. You never know. I met so many great people doing the show that I would never have met, and
Right.
it's kept me going. Just connecting with everyone.
Exactly.
Don't feel as despondent.
Lost. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the whole impetus behind starting this program had to do with trying to close the distance between a lot of people who felt very isolated. Because the right wing multimedia ecosystem thrives on making people feel alone.
That's it.
And the only way you can end the aloneness is to join the fascist in group.
That's right.
Well, that's a lie, just like everything else that comes out of the mouth of a fascist. It's a filthy, goddamn lie. Tara, thank you. I love these. I love these Wednesdays. I do.
Me too. Me too. All right. Yes, and let's keep it going, guys.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
Sounds
All right.
good.
Have a good night, my love, and I will see you very, very soon. And we'll, call me if you need anything and all that. All right, my hun. I'll talk to you later. Love you too. Bye-bye. All right, everyone. That's Robyn Kincaid, headon.live. Robyn show is every day at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you aren't following Robyn, what the hell? Why not? Why aren't you? All right, guys. And thank you, Jim, for your super chat. Right under the radar here. And thank you, Josie, for being here. And Errol and Kathy and Jim and Roller Woman. And who else did I miss? Errol and Kurt and Spitty. Nice to see you all. Robyn, nice to see you. Share the show with your friends. I'll talk to you on Friday. There's some good stuff happening. I can share some exciting news. We'll see. And I don't know. It's nice to get have sometimes when we'll be here on Friday at 8:30ish p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes because the show ends later, because we start later, sometimes I have a hard time falling asleep. So it feels weird on Wednesdays to hang up the show a little earlier, and then it's like, wow, I can actually unwind a little. So it works out. So I like to unwind and rest. It's weird, like when you're doing the show, you're not weird. It's not weird like Republicans are weird. It's just it makes you it makes you go awake. What's the word? It makes you awake. I can't talk. I don't know. I'm finding no words tonight. All right, my friends. Thank you so much. Thank you, Charlie from APS Radio News, for keeping the show going and growing with your generous support. Check out APS Radio News and Charlie's other independent media voices over at that great media outlet, independent media outlet. And thank you, Robyn. Another under the radar love. Right back at you. Thank you so much, my friend. And friends. And patrons. My loves. And the cats. Yes, we got Francis. And Tara Jr. sleeping peacefully. And Boudica, right over here. Always remember, we will win. We will win. Why? Why, Tara? Why? Because we're on the right side of history. We are. And I hope, as when Robyn was reading that list, you took a couple of notes maybe and call those representatives and ask them why. I'm going to call Hakeem Jeffries and ask, what the hell? I don't get it. What's your explanation for this? They need to hear from us, because this is the time where, as trans people, trans children are being targeted so disgustingly and so rapaciously by these nefarious forces that aren't trying to help them, that's for sure. They're trying to politicize their lives, and they don't give a shit who they kill, who they interfere with, whose lives they disrupt and destroy. And now is the time that we need to stand with our trans friends, family members, community, brothers and sisters, our fellow human beings, and stand against this hate. Because that's what it is. You know, you don't have to understand. I don't get it. There were only 2 genders. If that's what you think, go right ahead. Then, but you don't get to inflict your manias on reality. You know, the reality, as always, is a little bit more complex. So, thinking about what Anna Kasparian said, the perceived threat. It's right out of the Nazi playbook. Perceived threat. So we're going to target a minority group that's really under threat and under attack because of a perceived threat being stoked by these right-wing politicians deliberately to divide people. It's absolutely repugnant. And Democrats, they should be those who voted to harm trans kids in this bill. They should be goddamn ashamed. And I hope we all, I'm going to make some phone, it doesn't take much, you know, just look up the roll call, see who voted on the wrong side of history, and make those calls. Ask them, why? What's your motivation? You should be embarrassed. Now's the time to stand with this targeted minority group du jour. We should be hyper-vigilant against this kind of fascism. Well, about this aspect of fascism. It's very, very disappointing and disgusting. But we have to speak up. So, because that also matters, you know, for our trans brothers and sisters in the community to know that they're not alone. You know, that we are standing with them. At least some of us are. We're not going to leave them on the battlefield. We're not going to leave them behind. We're going to fight. Because this is those who voted against and those who target this minority group du jour, it's not going to age well. We know that. And future generations are going to be appalled as we are now, probably more so. So, yeah, we're on the right side of history. We're on the right side of decency, dignity, democracy, humanity. Thank you so much for hanging out tonight. Thank you, guys. Become a patron at patreon.com/TaraDevlin. Share the show with your friends. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Hit the notification bell so you can be notified when the show goes live on Fridays and Wednesdays, for the most part. And we stick together, we win. My name is Tara Devlin, and I will see you on Friday night.